Okay, before we go getting into this one, I hope everyone had a nice holiday season this year. Didn't really do much last week. Then again, I've been doing a bunch of stuff leading up to this. Anyway, let's just get straight into it here. It's going to be more of a rant talking about some of the things I've seen in the second season of the show so far. Now, the first season wasn't terrible, right? Watched it on and off. I have seen the entirety of it. It's just I haven't watched it in a while, and I didn't watch it super closely when it first came out. Probably going to go through and rewatch the first season of it after seeing the first episode of the second season here. I don't know why they decided to do what they've been doing with the show and the characters, right? Well, I do know why they decided to do what they're doing with it, but just gonna not try to be so negative so early on in a video, right? In just the beginning of the first episode of the second season there, we see Novak after a whole intro pre-war with House and whatnot. Not even going to get started on that at the moment. Save that for later. We see Novak, right? One of the most legendary locations there. It's where you meet Boone. It's where you have to go to progress the main quest, talking to Manny Vargas. You usually head over to RepCon from there, and, you know, it's a mainstay. It's a little hub where you're going to be doing some missions before you move on down the road a ways, right? That's just how that goes. So everyone stops at Novak. Everyone knows Novak. The major thing about Novak is the dinosaur, right? The dinosaur is used by Boone and Manny as a watchtower so that they can keep watch from the Legion, which is literally just across the little overpass down the road. You can literally find dead Legionnaires right over the bridge. And this dinosaur is used for that because, well, why wouldn't it be used for that, right? So them turning the dinosaur is weird, to say the least. One of the other things I just noticed whilst looking at the still of this place here, you can see Helios 1 off in the distance, and looking at the photo, which should be up on screen now, the dinosaur is pointing the wrong way, Water Tower's in the wrong place, and Helios is just in the complete wrong direction, which is just great. Although they did put Helios, which is surprising. Wonder if they're gonna bring the whole Death Ray thing in, or if we're even gonna see anything from Helios. Probably not, but still, though, I get it. They did the whole setup thing of, you know, we want the one main character to shoot the other main character free, you know, old reminiscent of Westerns and whatnot. Shooting the noose before it goes tight and all that happy good stuff. She could have done it from the water tower, right? Right, they could have had the whole scene behind the hotel with the dinosaur off in the distance. She could have been up on the water tower taking the shot from there. Would have made sense. If they really wanted her to keep shooting from the dinosaur and whatnot, they could have put it down along the overpass. In which case, you know, maybe move the overpass around a little bit. You know, environmental details like that being edited. Like, you know, the roadway's a little further down and a little over and point to, you know, off to the side a little bit so you could see under the overpass from the dinosaur. That would make sense because, you know, Fallout is a condensed version of the real world to a point, right? The whole circuit the courier does is close to fucking 280 miles, give or take. Going from Good Springs directly up the road to Las Vegas is like 40 miles, right? So everything's more condensed. I can fully understand moving some things around to make the world feel bigger, and that would be fine, but completely changing a known location like that is just strange. And don't get me wrong, with Fallout, we do run into the issue of how vast the world is supposed to be. We run into this with the Elder Scrolls as well. I've always been a big fan of those games. First one I played was Morrowind back in the day when my mother bought it at a yard sale for me. The issue we run into in those games is, like, Whiterun is supposed to be a colossal city, or Cyrodiil is supposed to be a huge capital city, and it's less than the size of a farmer's market, right? If they can't actually depict the real size of these cities in-game, because you could set an entire game by itself in the Imperial City, right? So I understand why they have to change it for the games. It's completely understandable, especially the scope thereof. And I could understand, making stuff bigger, opening it up more. Like, Vegas proper is fucking huge, right? We don't see that in game. We see, like, again, something that could fit probably in your local high school, right? So it's understandable to a point, but what's not understandable is to change the actual locations of these things, right? For Novak, for instance, I could fully understand them maybe bumping it up to like a three-floor motel, maybe adding a few more rooms, a lot more length to it, maybe making the dinosaur taller. They seem to have made it shorter for some reason. I don't know why. The pool is okay. I don't have an issue with the pool being in the center where it is there next to the bungalows and whatnot. That's fine. We could say that it's been filled in and, cleaned out multiple times. Whatever. Don't care. The pool makes sense being there. It's just the dinosaur being that way doesn't really make any sense, right? Back in the day, you had roadside attractions that you would stop to see, especially along Old Route 66 there. And the dinosaur pointing away from the road would not make any sense, right? You would want people to come in, right? You have a big-ass dinosaur holding a thermometer, showing the temperature and whatnot. People could stop in, go into the dinosaur, buy some trinkets and toys of the dinosaur and whatnot. It makes sense just for tourism, right? What doesn't make sense is turning it in toward the pool. That only makes sense in a modern sense, use that word a lot, when you're going to a destination for a reason, right? For instance, going to an amusement park that has like statues and stuff inside of it. You know what they are, you know what it is, you go in there, you're gonna take pictures and stuff with it. Or going to a place that's like a lodge with a carved bear and whatnot. You're gonna go there, you're gonna probably take photos with the carved bear and whatnot. You know it's there, so you're gonna take photos of it, so it's set up in a picturesque way to draw people in, not draw people in, but for photo opportunities and whatnot, right? So you could see it whilst being on the inside, right? So original Novak was designed more with the 1950s mentality in place. Redesigned Novak for the show has been redesigned for the modern belief in these destinations, right? And it's sad to see that spirit has been taken away from it some, right? It's less 1950s feeling now and more 2000s feeling now, right? It's sad. Anyway, that's that on Novak of all goddamn places. Next thing I want to just waffle on about for a little bit. Airships. The Prydwen is seen as like the end-all be-all of the Brotherhood of Steel at the moment. It can house a small fleet of vertibirds. It can have an entire chapter. At this point in time, it would technically be the head chapter of the Brotherhood of Steel aboard it so that it can move from place to place and settle if they need to. Or be a show of force if they need to, right? Memory serves me correctly, it was built from the weird weapons platform the Enclave had in Broken Steel. Mostly developed after that using a mix of pre-war tech, Enclave tech, and Brotherhood know-how and ingenuity, right? Because before the Prydwen, the Brotherhood had airships. How the Brotherhood history went up until this point, as I knew it, was the founding chapters, the founding chapter on the West Coast created splinter groups and chapters throughout the West Coast, right? A few of those chapters were considered outcasts, in all but name, to the Brotherhood of Steel of the West Coast. So they were pretty much given an impossible task to go east and find technology. They banded together and they built crude, rudimentary airships. They also had single-engine aircraft and helicopters and other retrofitted aircraft that went with them. After they made it past, I think it's the Sierra Nevada mountains. Let me stop and look this up. I was completely wrong. It would have been the Rockies. Anyway, they had a turbulent time going through the Rockies because they were airships, not pressurized airships or anything like that, so they couldn't fly too high. They found their way through, and right on the other side, they got hit by a colossal fucking storm. it took down most of the airships. There was only like 1 or 2 that were still operational and still headed east. Well, they split up, got blown apart, drifted, whatever. One of them went down in the Midwest and became the Midwest chapters of the Brotherhood of Steel, which took in super mutants and ghouls and literally became a nation in the Midwest that was just forgotten about. I have a whole video on that if you want to check it out. It was made a while ago, so you'll have to forgive the quality of it there. But one airship made it to like Chicago before it set itself down. And that airship had Elder Lyons on it, of the Brotherhood of Steel of the DC area, as we know him. They went from Chicago with their chapter and traveled down southeastward through Pennsylvania, through Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, now known as the Pit, where something referred to as the Scourge happened. The Scourge happened for some reason. The Brotherhood heard that there was a piece of sophisticated technology there that would have been a danger to the people if they found it, and or was super advanced and sophisticated or something. No one knows what it is because no one talks about it. The Brotherhood of Steel, though, scourged the Pit. They killed every adult they came across and took children and stuff to refill their ranks along the way. That's how Asher ended up under a fucking building and stayed there. But after that chapter of the Brotherhood of Steel settled in the Capital Wasteland, Elder Lyons felt bad about what they did in the Pit and decided to help the locals there. This put him at odds with the West Coast Brotherhood of Steel, which didn't want him to do that. And as such, the Brotherhood of Steel eventually just cut communications with the East Coast, right? Now, by this point in time, the last pretty much king of the Brotherhood was already there, Arthur Maxon. There's a whole to-do about the lineage of the High Elders of the Brotherhood of Steel. Any which way, when you're a High Elder of the Brotherhood of Steel, you're a High Elder for life. You're pretty much the whole king of the Brotherhood of Steel, East and West. At roundabouts this point, when Lyons wanted to start helping people, they started helping people. A bunch of the Brotherhood didn't like this, and they split off, becoming the Brotherhood Outcasts. They stood with the ideals of the West Coast, and were at odds with Lyons' Brotherhood. Lyons died. Sarah Lyons somehow died. Arthur Maxon became the High Elder. Well, I think he's only the Elder in Fallout 4. He very well could be the High Elder. I don't know. But he banded the Brotherhood back together post-Fallout 3 after the airship was done. And the West Coast liked it because, one, they pretty much had their king back, last of the line of Maxon, the founder of the Brotherhood of Steel. And they were happy that they had returned to the ideals of the Brotherhood of Steel, right? So what I'm getting at with this is, whilst airships existed, they were not as advanced as the Prydwen is. Not as advanced, not as sophisticated, nothing like that. And now, toward the end of the episode, for episode 1 here of season 2, we see that the airship design for the Prydwen is pre-war for some reason. And that there's apparently a fleet of airships now, which I could understand that because the Brotherhood of Steel did create the pattern for this, and maybe they mass-produced them with all of the tech and stuff they had their hands on throughout the rest of the regions. Okay, weird, but okay. But it just annoys me that this post-war ingenuity of the Brotherhood of Steel has been reduced to, yeah, no, they just built something that they found. Or they, who knows, maybe they found the Prydwen at this point. Maybe they found the Prydwen and all the other airships. Or something. Which is just weird. And yeah, I know they did the same thing technically with the vertibirds and whatnot. Because helicopters existed, planes existed, right? The Brotherhood of Steel, as they traveled east, used planes and helicopters. Like, don't get me wrong, we have VTOL in real life. Vertical takeoff and landing aircraft. Some of them look just shockingly like vertibirds and whatnot. Pretty much a plane with oversized propellers on its wings, and the wings can... It literally does what a vertibird does, right? So, the issue with those is they're not as efficient as a helicopter or a plane. Although I think we have VTOL now that are just jet aircraft. I have no idea. I haven't paid attention to any of that stuff or anything like that. It's... Anyway, I wasn't originally going to get into this, but I'm going to get into it now. mostly because I'm like fucking 20 minutes into rambling here. House. Robert Eugene House. Pre-war billionaire, studied at the CIT, the Institute, literally. Everyone at the think tank fucking hated him because he was a goddamn genius in every way, shape, and form. Literally created some of the best technologies out there, and the think tank copied them, or just hated him for making them. I don't understand what the fuck they're doing with House's character, right? House is a realist, and one of the irksome things about him being a realist like that is he knows he's the smartest man in the fucking room, right? He knows he is the smartest man in the fucking room most of the time. And that's the thing. If he cannot see something that's going to benefit him or his goals, he's not going to randomly fucking do it, right? So this whole thing of the pre-war House in the show is just, it annoys the fuck out of me. The man, Robert Eugene House, the same fucking man that if you tell him, hey, I shot the president of the NCR because that asshole was gonna make me pay taxes, and all he says is, that's understandable, right? He likes, how to explain this? He's all for individuality, and he's all for progress, as long as that progress benefits his goal. But even if that progress does not benefit his goal, as long as progress is being made, he is happy. Right? It's one of the main reasons why he doesn't like the Brotherhood of Steel. They collect and hoard technology and don't do anything with it. Right? He doesn't like that stagnation. The boomers he wants on his side because he knows they can fix technology, use and utilize it, right? Maybe even advance upon it. And on top of all of that, he runs Las Vegas, of all fucking places. Sin City, where people come to have a time of their lives. If he wanted control and domination, why have a place like Vegas? Right? Not to mention, right? He's literally made some of the most sophisticated fucking robots in existence. We all know the Securitrons and whatnot. Those are the civilian versions of the robots he is allowed to use in the United States due to standards and limitations put on him about using certain robots on U.S. soil, right? Right? The Assaultron. Head-mounted laser, lasers and or claws and or blades on its arms, in its arms, whatever. Made for the United States military to literally be frontline combatants. Why would House develop a mind control chip that he knew was not going to be fully operational for like the next few hundred goddamn years when he could literally just make another fucking hidden factory just to build Assaultrons like he did with his Securitrons, right? Humanoid form, can work, can do whatever the fuck he wants them to. They could literally be hooked up to his brain like Victor is. It makes no goddamn sense to me on why they did this to House, right? They should have just went the actual route of House, right? Howard Hughes. My mother used to talk about that guy, about how he just went fucking batshit crazy, right? Tissue boxes on his feet, just full on fucking insane, right? Same guy that wanted to make like the world's largest either plane or glider, not entirely sure on that one. Just completely fucking insane, right? They could have went more that route, right? Maybe House, while still being a super genius, is slowly losing his fucking mind, right? I could understand maybe something like that. But no, the House we get in Fallout New Vegas literally giving you the fucking long plan of, yeah, no, in like 200-300 years, I could have us back to fucking space with the resources I have now. Long as I get my platinum chip back, I can keep humanity on track and fix everything that's fucking broken in the next few hundred years. And I would believe him, right? The man's a super genius that made all of these wonderful developments, so much so that the think tank, the smartest people, that literally the people that made matter replication and, well, actually House could have made matter replication. You know what? Doesn't matter. And teleportation hate House because of how smart he is, right? It is, and I get it. Some people are going to watch this video here of me pretty much ranting about this shit and think that I'm nitpicking about stuff. But all I have to say is the source material exists for a reason, right? Why change the source material so drastically to fit whatever the fuck you want to write when you could just go through and write a fucking different post-apocalyptic show altogether, right? They're doing it because Fallout has been around since like 1997, and it's fucking famous. And Bethesda, and I don't give a fuck what people say, Todd Howard and fucking Bethesda are pissed off that after they bought Fallout, right? Because if you didn't know, the way it worked was Interplay, Black Isle, whatever fuck you want to call them, the original creators of Fallout, licensed Fallout 3 to be made to Bethesda. But during that licensing period, the pre-production period of Fallout 3, Black Isle, Interplay, whatever, went under, and Bethesda bought the rights to Fallout for like $5 million. Okay? Fucking chump change. Okay? They bought all rights to it, and they made Fallout 3. And oh shit, Fallout 3 maybe did better than the games they were already making. Weird. And then Fallout New Vegas comes out, and it puts to shame a lot of the shit Bethesda had made up until that point. And they didn't like that. They didn't like that their in-house title of The Elder Scrolls was pretty much being beat out by an IP they had paid fucking pennies for, right? They didn't like that. And sure, people can say, oh, well, they don't care because they make money off of it. At the end of the day, Fallout's not theirs, right? At the end of the day, it proves to Todd Howard and the other motherfuckers that work at Bethesda that these guys from Interplay came up with an idea that people enjoyed more than the idea they came up with. And sure, it can make them money till the fucking cows come home. But what's that mean at the end of the day? Well, it means at the end of the day that Todd Howard is going to go through and fucking not give a fuck what happens to the IP because they can run it into the fucking dirt and not really give a fuck as long as it makes them money. They're not going to baby it. They're not going to make sure the lore is fucking accurate. They're not going to make sure everything is represented the way it should. Why would they? They didn't write the shit. They don't give a fuck, right? So, at the end of the day, they just don't fucking care. They don't fucking care because they're still pissed off that it's not an Elder Scrolls show that is being made. They're pissed off that it's not a fucking... Technically, what mainline number are we at for Fallout? Sure, it's Fallout 4, but we had Fallout. I hit my microphone. Fallout, post-nuclear role-playing game, the first one. Fallout 2. Fallout Tactics, Brotherhood of Steel. That weird isometric Brotherhood of Steel game no one fucking played. Fallout 3. Fallout New Vegas. Fallout 4. Fallout 76. That's 8 fucking Fallout games. 8 fucking Fallout games since 97. And we still haven't got the Elder Scrolls 6. On top of that, they've tried to go through and make a fucking new IP in Starfield, which... that game is just a fucking disappointment, man. I beat it once. Twice. New Game Plus is fucking weird in that game, and I don't like it. Any which way, they tried to make a new IP that they thought was going to beat Fallout, and it didn't. Same vein, you know, like post-apocalyptic... retro-futuristic style game. It didn't work. And at this point in time, I feel like they're floundering with the Elder Scrolls 6 because they don't know what to fucking do anymore. So they're just milking Fallout for all they can to try to bolster their fucking bank account and their coffers before the Elder Scrolls 6 comes out, and it's going to sell well. It's going to sell well. It's most likely going to beat out every Elder Scrolls game that has come out. Maybe not Skyrim's fucking re-release for every goddamn thing. But it's going to beat every Elder Scrolls game in sales, and it's going to beat every Fallout game in sales simply because of how the world works now and how easy it is to have a game system that can play these games, right? So, of course, sales are going to do gangbusters. It's just... will it have the same staying power as Morrowind or Oblivion, which they just fucking re-released, or Skyrim, which was released on literally every fucking console? Will it have a cult following like Fallout? Fallout 2, Fallout 3, Fallout fucking New Vegas. Not so much Fallout 4. I don't know. And quite frankly, I might not ever fucking know in my lifetime. It's been damn near a goddamn decade since we fucking heard about The Elder Scrolls 6, and it still doesn't seem like it's going to be done in this decade. So, anyway, just a little heated that one of my favorite franchises is getting the shaft because it's not the fucking in-house favorite child of Todd Howard at this point, man. Ugh. Anyway, I'm going to toss some random fucking B-roll up behind this because I'm just kind of recording to a black screen at this point. Cut off the pauses, which I'll just use truncate on Audacity for that. Toss up some B-roll, maybe toss in some slides rotating in the background of my Pip-Boy screen. Maybe I'll stick Todd Howard in a Teletubby costume up in the fucking corner or some shit. I don't fucking know anymore. Anyway, thanks for watching, if indeed you still are. I'd like to thank Eric, Hewitt, Big O, and the Aussie Moose. I was going to say fucking Sasquatch. No idea why. The Aussie Moose, thank you considerably for being members. If you want to become a member too, link is in the description. For like $2 a month, you can get members-only videos, which I do need to work on. A members-only lore video, and I'll probably just do a quick challenge run in like Honest Hearts or something. It's like a little members-only live stream. I think that's the easiest way to do it nowadays, to get members-only content out. That way I don't need to record it, then edit it, then voice over the edited version of it, and then upload it. I could just, it's like an all-in-one package, just live stream it. I do live stream members-only stuff with Facecam though, so you can come see me be, you know, the generic white guy I am. Anyway, hope everyone had a good holiday season. Mine was kind of hectic. Thanks for watching, and see you guys in the next one.